G'day guys, welcome to the review of My Blue Heaven. I don't think I've ever been, well I probably have, but I can't remember being as uncomfortable at a game of football, physically at a game of football, was there yesterday. 19-point win against North Melbourne, but not for 1 minute or second in that game did I ever really feel at ease. And it had a real stench about it. Right from the opening bounce. I mean, full credit to North Melbourne. They brought the heat. They brought the intensity. They looked a very good football team. They didn't look like a 17th place football team. I know they got smacked the week before on the road against the Swans. And I must admit, I haven't watched a lot of them this year, just given their time slots. I do understand that they are a developing team, but I was a little bit surprised at how good they were. But in saying that, there's something not quite right with us at the moment, and we have certainly regressed over the last month. And maybe there was signs even in that Richmond game where we ended up running all over the top of the Tigers, but they did, they gave us some nervous moments in that game, particularly in the third quarter when they hit the front. They kicked 5 goals, I think, in succession in that second quarter. And that's been a concern for us second terms over the last month or so. But we're not playing well. And to get that win yesterday, you've got to take it. You've got to take it. And I know there's a lot of fans up in arms at the moment about how we're going. And I'm not going to be one of them at the moment. It's pointless. I think, obviously, if this trend continues, and I know we're second, but it does feel like round 19 with 5 games remaining, we are just hanging on. I think a little bit physically and mentally. That was a bruising contest yesterday, and full credit to a younger North Melbourne team who brought the heat. And look, let's face it, what better preparation really at this time of year than being under pressure, having a team really bring that physicality around the contest, around the ball. You don't want to just be, I suppose, playing run-of-the-mill football teams. And let's take the 17th position out of the equation for the moment. There's no way North Melbourne played like a 17th place football team. So I'm trying to get a read on this. I'm trying to understand that we are not in the best form at the moment, but we also faced a team that were right up for the challenge and have got some exceptionally good young footballers. But it was an uncomfortable watch. It really was. And even late in that game, it sort of kind of felt like the Adelaide game at Marble Stadium early on in the year, where it looked like we broke in Adelaide, then they came again late. And this game had that stench about it. And I was pretty bloody happy when that final siren sounded. I wasn't happy with the performance, but it was a bit of a sigh of relief, if I'm perfectly frank. I'm not liking the way we're playing. And I'll be honest, I thought we probably got the rub of the green as well at crucial times in that game. And we were there not long ago. Bottom teams do get reamed up the backside, I reckon, by the umps at crucial times. It just feels that way. Maybe that's just a bit of a chip on the shoulder when you are going poorly. But I felt like we got a little bit lucky. But I'm taking it against a really willing opponent. But yeah, I don't think any of us would be looking at that and the way we're playing over the last probably month or so, thinking if that now is what we're going to be dishing up for the rest of the year going into September, and I'm assuming we will make it. I could feel like that second spot is now well and truly in jeopardy, and the Lions are coming, and they're coming really hard, and you just look at that ladder and we're surrounded by interstate teams, and oh God, one thing I've always dreaded about this final series is having to get on the road and face a Sydney on the road, or a Freo on the road, or a GWS, or a fucking Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. But it is what it is, and we're just a really short break now into Port Adelaide with some real sore bodies, and changes will need to be made. And there are a few players down on form and impact, which is a concern as well. So let's just have a quick look at it. Fucking hell! I'm just not seeing the midfield really at the moment, and it's probably been a question mark on this group. I reckon for the whole of the year, our midfield has been really inconsistent. And once again, yesterday, and there was some circumstances around that. TDK was off the ground for a period of time, and Shearer got on top. I thought TDK, when he came back on, was responsible for helping us turn that game in the third quarter. I thought he was really big and imposing, and his clearance work, particularly in the middle of the ground, was great. I don't know, other than Patrick Cripps, and George Hewett was serviceable through there. I'm just not feeling it with our midfield at the moment, which is a big concern. I thought defensively we were all over the shop, our back 6 or 7. Playing Chera. I thought Chera's third quarter was good. He got up and really pressed up high and showed a little bit of class, and he was quite steady, but you can't see that being sustainable. Adam Chera as a halfback flanker and having Matthew Kennedy down there. We had Sam Durden on one leg. I've got concerns about Sam Durden as a key defender, although he is big. He's a big body, but they really stretched us. Teakle thought Comben was dangerous, and Larkey, his presence in the air. And I thought their smalls, particularly Paul Curtis, was really dangerous. And we just seemed to be a half a metre, or even a half a step through the midfield off the pace. And it really took quite an effort to turn that game around in that third quarter, and it could have gone south, but it didn't. So you've got to take that as a positive. But Jesus Christ, it was ugly. I think a positive was our small forwards hit the scoreboard really hard. They were dangerous. They were clinical in front of the big sticks, and we got a contest from both Harry and also Charlie, but nothing. Okay, I think both of them as a collective have tapered somewhat over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but hopefully that will build once September comes, because I'll repeat it with Charlie, he's going to be measured this year on the way he plays in finals, not necessarily what he's doing in the home and away season, which is super important for us. But hopefully he's got a big September on the cards. So not a great day, but to take 4 points and still to be sitting second on the ladder going into round 20, it has to be seen. It has to be seen as a positive. But just understanding this is a brutal long campaign. And maybe, just maybe, there needs to be a balance here, and I'm willing to go there at the moment. Maybe when we went through that really good patch of form when we beat Geelong and we beat Port Adelaide on the road and we beat the Gold Coast Suns, maybe that was not as good. Maybe that was not as good as what it actually looked like at the time. We faced Geelong when they were on a bit of a downer. Teams get Port Adelaide, on the road. Like they're not the I suppose the force at the Adelaide Oval like Sydney is at the SCG, and we beat the Gold Coast Suns, who don't travel. Everyone's beating them on the road. And we played Richmond, who were 18th on the ladder. So it was great form, but maybe we were just getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. And I always said that it looked like we peaked, and there was going to come a time where we're just going to dip a little bit. I just hope now that this hasn't become a consistent thing, because we do look like we're lacking some energy and enthusiasm. It's showing, particularly at the contest. Our hunt's not there, and we're making it tough. We really are, and we're sort of gone back to the situation where we're really relying on our stars to get the job done, rather than on the back of real system and role. Isn't it funny when you start to struggle a little bit? Those role players that we were talking about a month ago as being so important for us, and they do continue still to be important for us, and not the players they were maybe 4 or 5 weeks back. But anyway, we roll on, and we see what we dish up against Port Adelaide in a big game this Friday night at Marvel Stadium on a 5-day break, with some sore bodies. There'll be some changes. There has to be. I know the VFL had a huge win, a massive win against Collingwood, and Jackson Binns kicked 3 and about 43 or 44 disposals. Jack Martin looks like he's ready just a bit, to come back. If TDK is not quite right, then Pitnet can come in. So we've got some options now, and there shouldn't be any excuses not to perform on Friday night against Port Adelaide in a must win. It is a must win. I think we need to be finishing second. It's as simple as that. And with fucking Brisbane now just playing super football, it's going to be really tough. But it was never going to be easy. It was never going to be easy, and we are somewhat battling at the moment. And I know Michael Voss was upbeat in his press conference and lauded the victory. But I think deep down there'd be some concerns. There has to be some concerns about the way we're playing at the moment if it does continue. Anyway, let's have a look at the players individually, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm not ready to flip the lid just yet because we're sitting second, and I've always said that there was going to come a time where we were going to regress. Did I think it was going to last this long against the 17th place team and to be pushed like we were? No, but I didn't expect North Melbourne to be so good as well. So I'm trying to get a balance in this. Anyway, let's have a look at the players individually. He's battling. Lockie Cowan, whatever you want to call him. The supporters call him Moo, which I find cringe. I find all these noises our fans make at the football, like Moo when he gets the ball. I just find all that cringe. I really do. But that's insignificant. He's just battling at the moment. I think defensively he's battling. I think he spent time on Paul Curtis, who led him to the ball. He missed some spoils as third man up. He lost his feet. He's not offering anything offensively. I know he's a young second-year player, and he's still got a lot to learn. But I feel like he, like a few of our players, is just hanging on. So maybe he is one that could afford a rest. Whether that's in the VFL or a week off, I'm not quite sure. But he's certainly one that's now starting to frustrate a little bit. I think he's tapered somewhat over the last month or so, and we're not getting anywhere the impact that he had through that nice little patch where he probably should have earned a Rising Star nomination. I think it was the Geelong game. He had 19 touches and kicked a goal, but he certainly, I know people will say he's playing his role, but I think defensively, if he's going to be a lockdown type player, rather than offering us some rebound and some offence, then I'm not seeing that real appetite at the moment from Lockie Cowan. Motlop, great to see him back. Kicked 3 goals, low disposals, looked lively when we really needed a spark in that second quarter because we were really struggling in that first half. It looked like there was an upset on the cards. Kick 3, he's a live wire. I think it's a nice launching pad for him. Hopefully better things to come. More disposals, maybe a little bit more pressure and tackling. But yeah, I think you have to take 3 goals from a small forward in this day and age is a real positive. So yeah, good game by Jesse Motlop. Thought that was a real good step in the right direction for Ollie Hollands. I thought some of his spoiling, his closing speed to stop an outlet was super important for us. Thought he was running on top of the ground. His kicking was a little bit down. We didn't probably get the meters gained from his 17 touches, but I think his defensive work in this game was excellent. And with Blake Acres really playing a secondary role, and I think he'd hurt his foot and he had to go forward. We needed really our wingers to step up in that second half. And I actually thought Hollands and Cottrell were okay on their wings. In fact, just looking at it, I reckon we won the wings. I feel like we did, but not necessarily. I don't feel like we won the midfield battle, but I think our wingers were okay. Chera, I think everyone was surprised to see him playing half back. Awful early, fumbled, missed kicks, missed handballs, not great defensively, but I think his third quarter was really important for us. He was nice and steady. As I said, once we started to get that territory battle, isn't that a wanky word, territory battle, he was then able to press up and almost play as an extra mid at times. So maybe that's a step in the right direction. I'm not quite sure what the plan is for him moving forward, whether he stays there, but I wouldn't have thought so. I just don't think he's a defender. And did he give us a lot of dash? Not necessarily. He's only had 260 metres gained from his 21 touches. Kennedy, the same. I mean, we had 2 midfielders playing as defenders. Kennedy had to play as a tall down back. And he was serviceable in that role, but geez, we cannot see that as being anything more than just a quick fix at the moment. I reckon it's a dog breakfast at the moment with our defence. I really do. It looks all at sea. For Fogarty, I think he's the big question mark on Lockie. Fogarty has always been his finishing, but he's kicked 2 really nice goals. Hopefully that gives him some confidence because he's not a big goal kicker, but he was clinical. Beautiful set shot in that second quarter, nice goal on the run. He's had, I think, 4 or 5 goal assists. I think he's in the top 10 in the competition for goal assists. So he's an important player for us. Thought he went quite well. Cripper, obviously our best midfielder. 29 touches, 9 clearances. Feel like he's playing a bit of a lone hand at the moment. I really do. Maybe that's not disrespect. That's been a bit disrespectful to our other midfielders, but feel like he is carrying a pretty heavy load, and the weight of this team once again on his shoulders. But it was a very good game, although he was up against it. They were good. They were good in there. Sheasel and LDU and Wardlaw looked bloody fucking hard at it. They had Simpkin just playing a secondary role. So, no, they've got some weapons in the middle of the ground. They looked every bit as good as us through the middle of the ground, North Melbourne, which is somewhat of a concern for us going into September. Our midfield is just, I keep saying it, but it is lagging somewhat. Harry took an eternity to get in the game. He really did. And it wasn't until he copped that knock that it sort of it sprung him into action. Great goal, kicked an important one, which I think may have come from a free kick in the last quarter. I think it was. But, although Aiden Core was good on him. I mean, Core didn't do much other than just blanket Harry. And then, for the first time, I actually thought Harry looked all at sea when he went into the ruck when TDK went off. He didn't have a hit out. Like, he did not have a hit out. And I know he's going up against Christian Cherry. But, yeah, it's food for thought if... Yeah, I didn't feel like Harry looked like he wanted to be in there in the middle of the ground when TDK went off. I've spoken about TDK. I just thought he was huge in that third quarter. And that was a great battle. That was a ripping battle to watch in the ruck. Both boys just going at it. You probably just give the points to the big fella from North, but on numbers, but for impact when we really needed it. Every time I felt like we had some ascendancy in the middle of the ground, it was the work of TDK. I was a little bit surprised to see him only have 19 hit outs, but he did spend a fair bit of time off the ground. Akers, yeah, one of his quieter games, but apparently carrying a foot injury. He is due for a rest. I mentioned it. He's been one of the most hardest working players at our football club for nearly 2 years. He needs a break, and if he's sore, he cannot play against Port Adelaide on Friday night. He just can't. I thought Jack Carroll did some nice things. You know, I'm trying to figure out exactly what he is. Is he inside, outside? He's had one clearance. His ball use isn't great. He's not bad when he kicks long. He hasn't got great speed. But as a second string midfielder, he's serviceable. But yeah, I'm looking at that and thinking, okay, that was maybe a step in the right direction for him, but at the same time, I think it was a reward for just a body of work in the VFL, which just couldn't be ignored. And I'm glad he got his opportunity, and I feel like he'll be needed against Port Adelaide on Friday night because he is fit, he is young, and he's in reasonable nick. Yeah, I'm under the impression that Sam Walsh is injured. They targeted him. They targeted him, but surely they wouldn't be playing this guy if his back wasn't right. Surely they wouldn't be that stupid. But he, to me, is just not in good nick at the moment, Sam Walsh. I know he's at 25. He's at a 529 metres game. He's still running. He's still tackling. I think he had the most tackles for us, 7 tackles. But no, there's just not a lot of impact with him. And when you're relying on your two star midfielders, and it's Cripps and Walsh, you're relying on Walsh to have more of an impact than he is having at the moment. He's having B grade midfield type impact, not A grade. That's the way I'm looking at it at the moment. I think Elijah Holland's form is just regressed a little bit, although 16 disposals, 3 clearances. He had some nice moments where he set up a couple of goals. I think it was going to be understandable after a nice patch of form that he's quite young still, and we're probably not getting the creativity from him that we had, and that comes down to winning the ball. I don't think he's necessarily a massive inside player. I think he does most of his work on the outside, although he can hunt the pill. But we're probably not seeing that creativity from Elijah Hollands at the moment, particularly with his precise kicking. Thought Wiedering was pretty good down back. Felt like at times it was a one-man show down there with him trying to guard 3 big North fucking forwards who really stretched us, particularly Combat in that. What did he kick? Did he kick 3 in that second quarter? Charlie Combat. Larkey was always dangerous, and Teakle's just tall. Like, he took a mark and kicked the goal. Well, Wiedering was good once again. Newman, I thought, hit back after a couple of lean weeks. Thought he was with Sard, our best offensive defender. Thought his kicking was superb, and I thought he was one of our better players on the ground. Cunningham just didn't get the opportunities. I felt a little bit surprised that he was the sub. Came on late, only had the one handball, can't be assessed. Hewitt just worked really hard. He's had his 22 and he's had 8 clearances and done a reasonable job through the middle of the ground. Curnow, it's a fucking tough position to play. And he had Logue, and Logue was into him, and he's taken some good marks, 9 marks, a couple of strong leads, but he just needs to pull his head in a little bit, Charlie Curnow. He gets the ball and he wants to play on really quickly. He doesn't let the midfielders set up behind the ball with, take the 30 seconds off the clock rather than, wanting to. I mean, there was one stage there in the second quarter where he just played on straight away around the body and kicked the belly of the ball, and they relayed it and kicked the goal. And it felt like in that second quarter a bit of a change in momentum. Even the left foot snap around the body. I know it's just him, but I don't know. I feel like maybe just being too critical, being really picky. But he's kicked 4. He had 15 disposals. When he went back late in the game, he took a really good mark and won a free kick. So, yeah, maybe just being really hard on him. Durden came in, looked lame, looked sore. I don't think he'll play this Friday night. So, yeah, I don't see it with Sam Durden. I think Chincotta's form is certainly dipped. What was his role? I know he went to McKercher after half-time, but yep. So these are the role players I'm talking about who we were just lauding a month ago. Now they look like real C graders. Interesting. Alex Chincotta. Interesting to see what his role will be on Friday night against Port. Thought Adam Saar was superb. Oh, wasn't that piece of play he did in the third quarter where he won a loose ball and burst through a pack was just superb. I thought that was the Adam Saar that we need. He looked confident, proactive, 538 metres gained from 18 touches. That's big meterage gained. It was a very good game. Very good game. Looked happy to kick a goal as well. He's kicked you 3 goals. I was pretty happy with our small forwards, if I must be frank. And it was good to see Matthew Cottrell go to a wing and win some ball, particularly with a connecting between the arcs, getting back, helping out defensively. I'm just hoping that's a real step in the right direction for him, because he has. I think Voss has shown a lot of faith in him when he could have gone back to the VFL or he could have come through the VFL, but he's racked up 19 touches, playing on a wing, which is reasonable numbers. And I thought his ball use was pretty good as well. Anyway, that's a wrap, guys. 27 minutes. Tell us what you think. I mean, there is cause for concern. There's no doubt about that. And if this continues, yeah. But I think we just, on the way I'm seeing it at the moment, the expectation for me, and I mentioned it in my preview of this game, is the expectation is for us to improve this year. We're playing in a grand final. It's as simple as that. So how we're performing at the moment, and we're second on the ladder, is concerning, but at the same time, the expectation for us should be that we should be a big player come September. That's the expectation. Not fall away, not just make up the numbers. The expectation on us, so that's the way I'm seeing it, is regardless of the form at the moment, I'm making this group and our coach accountable. They put themselves in a really strong position. Made a prelim final last year. The season's wide open. So there shouldn't be any excuses to be falling away or not reaching that potential, because every season we don't do it with this group, with this core group, and with Michael Voss at the helm, it's just another opportunity lost. So that's the way I'm seeing it at the moment. Anyway, take care. Speak soon.